So these are my two features combined in one. I did selecting the characters that you can play as well as naming them, which I can show. So you start out with this default. You can use the arrow keys to scroll through them backwards and forwards. When you select one, you hit enter, and it moves on to the next, moves on to the next, and so on until finish. Then when you hit enter the fourth time, you start adjusting the letters. You can, just like with the character itself, scroll back and forth. I'm just gonna name them really quick, a bunch of A's. If you want a name to be short, like, I don't know, BK, and you don't want a third one, you can skip it and move on to the next, just like in the original game. And then when you finish all three, it will load into the game itself. I also have it attached to the main menu. So if you, even if that scene isn't there, and you start game fresh. Currently, new game and continue are the same thing. I didn't make this, it was just how it was. So they both lead into my character selector, but if you do select it, you can pick go forward, backwards, whatever you want. So that's the demonstration. The code itself is kind of needlessly long because I was having a lot of trouble. I tried just setting up a bunch of arrays and then adding in the textures after the fact, like in Unity itself, but I couldn't. So if I was going to improve it, that would be one of the first things, because this is just stupidly big. But the basic idea, the formula that it follows for both the character and the name selecting is I am declaring all the variables and then just using an array within an array to keep track of where you are in the list of each possibility. So when you go right, it will change the panel, which are these things. What of this? Change the panel that has the character on it to whatever your class index is at, and then adds the class index. When you hit the left, it goes back, and then when you hit enter, it uses the panel index, which is only goes up to 4. It's keeping track of what panel you're on. I was going to have it in two separate sections, two separate scripts, but I wanted to condense it, and also this was easier, so I just had it split between the top part when you are cycling through panels and selecting characters. Once you have finished the fourth one, then it automatically just skips all this stuff and does it again, does the same thing, but with the letters. So this could also easily be condensed with just a Boolean determining which section you're in, and you just need one for each key code. And then this is just, it loads the finalized alpha, which is the name of the scene of the game. Yeah, and it's also my art asset in not these, because these were part of the Final Fantasy folder anyway, but let me just cycle through. If I just pick a bunch of red mages, these letters, I got myself. I didn't make them, I tried to make them and they were terrible, so I just used the internet, Google, and pick some that are free domain, not copyrighted. So those are my art assets, technically. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm obviously very far behind everyone else, but I did it, and surprisingly this wasn't in any code that I saw. And possibly because there's no way to play as any class other than the Red Mage, or not the Red Mage, the Fighter. And so that's the second thing. If I were to add to the code, I would have to figure out a way of storing, once you have determined what the class and the name of something is, actually storing that in a variable that can then be moved over into the rest of the game. I didn't do that, but it does need to be done. So I think that's enough. I'm not sure. I hope it is.